Two strangers sat in a lab, answered 36 questions off a printed list, and 6 months later, they married. No date, no shared history, just a stopwatch, a stack of index cards, and 45 minutes. And that couple wasn't a fluke. Other pairs from Arthur Aron's questions walked out attached too. Here's the unsettling part. Nothing about them was special. The room was plain, the chairs cheap, the lighting flat. What did the work was the order of the questions, a specific sequence you can actually reuse. Because Aron wasn't trying to matchmake. He was a psychologist chasing a much colder question. He wanted to know if closeness, the real kind, could be manufactured on purpose, on a timer. Not chemistry, not fate, just a repeatable procedure that reliably makes two people feel bonded. Most of us assume intimacy just happens to you, like getting caught in rain you didn't check for. You meet someone, something clicks or it doesn't, and you chalk the difference up to luck. Aron suspected that story was wrong, that closeness had a mechanism, and mechanisms can be triggered. So he built the experiment. Pairs of strangers, matched by nothing in particular, sat down face to face. Each got the same list, split into 3 sets, and one instruction: take turns, don't skip ahead. Set 1 is gentle, almost small talk. Would you like to be famous? In what way? Before a phone call, do you ever rehearse what you'll say? Easy, low stakes, warm-up questions. You could answer any of them at a bus stop without flinching. And that's the point of set 1. It gets both people talking, laughing a little, learning the other's voice before anything real is asked. Then set 2 tilts, the floor. The questions stop being about opinions and start being about you. What's your most terrible memory? Is there something you've dreamed of doing for years? Why haven't you? What does friendship mean to you? Notice what just happened. You can't answer those with a fun fact. To say anything true, you have to hand the stranger something you'd normally keep in your pocket. And here's the trick most people miss about the list. The escalation is gradual on purpose. Nobody opens with their worst memory. That would feel like a stranger reading your diary on the train. You'd shut down, deflect, give the safe answer. Vulnerability dumped too early just makes people flinch away. But you've already answered 15 lighter questions with this person. You've watched them answer honestly too. So the next step up doesn't feel like a cliff. It feels like the next stair, and you take it. That's the whole engine of the thing, and it's worth saying plainly, because it changes how you see closeness. Intimacy isn't a feeling you catch. It's a sequence: small risk, slightly bigger risk, repeated. Each time you reveal something and they don't laugh or leave, the floor feels safe enough to go deeper. Psychologists call it reciprocal self-disclosure, which is a heavy phrase for a very ordinary dance. It's the difference between a coworker you've sat beside for years and the friend you'd call at 2 a.m. Same hours logged, but one of them, at some point, told you something true and you told them something back. If that just quietly rearranged how you think about your own friendships, that's exactly what this channel is for. Stick around. Because the questions are only half of it. Aron's real insight was what the reveals do to a nervous system. When you tell someone a secret, you're handing them a small amount of power over you. Your body knows it. There's a flicker of risk, the same flicker before you send a text you can't unsay. If they receive it warmly, that risk resolves into something that feels a lot like trust and relief. Do that a dozen times in an hour, and the two of you share a private history no one else has. And a private history, built fast, feels exactly like the closeness that usually takes months to earn. That's why 45 minutes could do what a year of polite dinners sometimes can't. The dinners stayed in set 1: weather, work, weekend plans, safe, pleasant, and going absolutely nowhere. You can know someone's coffee order for a decade and never once know what they're afraid of. The list forces the door, the small talk keeps politely shut. It just refuses to let you stay shallow. Set 3 goes further still. By now, the two strangers are deep in it, and the questions know that. When did you last cry in front of another person? By yourself? No hiding behind an opinion there. Tell your partner what you like about them, said out loud, to a face you met an hour ago. Share a personal problem and ask how they'd handle it. You're asking a stranger to hold something. Each question quietly assumes the trust, the last one built. The list is standing on its own shoulders. And people go along with it because backing out now would feel colder than just answering honestly. By the final questions, both have said things out loud they hadn't told their closest friends. Then the questions stop, and Aron adds the part everyone remembers, the part that sounds almost too simple. He tells the two strangers to stop talking and to look into each other's eyes for 4 straight minutes. 4 minutes. No words, no phones, no glancing away to the wall, just the other person's face. If you've never done it, 4 minutes of eye contact is agonizingly long. It feels like an hour. In normal life, you hold a stranger's gaze for maybe a second before one of you looks off. Any longer, and it's a challenge, or a come on, or a threat. We're wired to break it fast. So holding it on purpose overrides something old and automatic, and your body treats that as significant. Being truly seen, nowhere to hide your face, is one of the most exposed things a person can do. And doing it right after trading your secrets stacks vulnerability on vulnerability until something in you gives. People report it as intense, uncomfortable, and then, strangely, tender. Some of them started to cry. That's the moment the study became famous, not the marriage, the idea that a stare could crack strangers open. But don't mistake the eye contact for magic. On its own, with a random stranger, it's just awkward. It only lands because of everything before it, 36 rungs of a ladder you climbed together. The stare is the last rung, not the ladder. People who try it cold always miss that. Now, the honest caveat, because this channel doesn't sell fairy tales, the study wasn't designed to make couples. Aron was measuring closeness in a lab, not running a dating service. The famous marriage was a side effect. And the peers were volunteers who, on some level, already wanted to connect. That matters, and it's fair to say. But the core finding held up again and again. Strangers who did this felt dramatically closer than strangers who small-talked. Even a control group that just chatted for the same 45 minutes didn't come close to the same bond. Same people, same time, same room. The only difference was whether the conversation was allowed to go deep, which means the closeness wasn't coming from the people, it was coming from the structure of what they did. And that's the genuinely useful part, the thing you can carry out of this video and actually use. If closeness is a sequence, then a relationship that feels stuck isn't broken, it's just stalled in set 1. The marriage that never talks about anything real. The friendship that's all logistics and no confessions. You don't need 36 questions. You need one that the small talk has been carefully steering around. Ask a friend what they were most afraid of as a kid, and then actually tell them yours back. That, and then tell them yours, is the whole thing. Disclosure only bonds when it goes both directions. A one-sided reveal isn't intimacy, it's a confession booth, and the other person stays a stranger behind the screen. The trade is what builds the bridge. Both people have to step onto it, one plank at a time. And you go in order. You don't ambush someone at brunch with your deepest wound and expect closeness. You start a little truer than usual, watch them meet you there, and only then take the next step. That's the reframe Aron really gave us. Intimacy isn't chemistry you're handed or born lucky enough to find. It's a thing two people build, deliberately, out of small, brave sentences said in the right order. Which is oddly hopeful. It means the distance in a relationship you care about isn't a verdict. It's just a conversation you two haven't had yet, a rung you've both been standing under, waiting. The couple who married didn't have better hearts than you. They just followed the sequence all the way up. And you now know the sequence. Start gentle, trade honestly, go a little deeper each time, don't skip a rung. Hold eye contact a beat longer than is comfortable once the words have earned it. That's the entire method. It works on a first date, a stale marriage, a friend drifting to the edge of your life. Anywhere two people are stuck being polite when they could be close, the same ladder is standing there. So here's the one line to keep. Intimacy isn't something you fall into, it's something you take turns building. Small risk, warm answer, slightly bigger risk. Repeat until the stranger across from you isn't a stranger anymore. Arthur Aron didn't bottle love. He did something more useful. He showed us the staircase was always there. And once you can see the staircase, you stop waiting for lightning and start, quietly, climbing. That's the shift this whole channel is built on, the ordinary mechanics hiding under the things we call fate. If this changed how you'll open your next real conversation, subscribe. We take one hidden rule of human behavior apart every week. Next up, why the people you just sit near become your friends far more reliably than the people you share everything with. It sounds too dumb to be true, and the research is stubbornly on its side. Try one honest question this week and watch what it does. You already know the mechanism now. You were never bad at getting close. You'd just never been handed the sequence. Now you have it.